The 25th book, called 10 Dedications, is one of the longest books of the scripture, indicative of the great importance of dedication in the life of enlightening beings. Dedication particularly reflects two essential principles of enlightening beings' practice: giving, or relinquishment, and vowing, or commitment. The basic orientation of dedication is the full development, liberation, and enlightenment of all beings. The scope of the 10 dedications is beyond the capacity of an individual to fulfill personally. It is through dedication that the individual enlightening being merges with the total effort of all enlightening beings. Forms of giving which are not literally possible, for example, are presented at great length. These represent non-attachment, both material and spiritual, particularly in the sense of dedication to the service of all life. This book recites extensive correspondences between specific contributions and the results to which they are dedicated, representing the adaptation of enlightening beings' activity to particular developmental needs. This is often presented in spiritual or psychological terms, but also it is presented in material or formal terms of glorified images of Buddha symbolizing the perfection of the human being. This book again emphasizes the integration of wisdom and compassion, acting purposefully even while knowing the ultimately unreal nature of conditional existence. This skill of acting without attachment, without compulsion, without grasping or rejecting existence or emptiness, is presented as the essence of dedication and fundamental to the path of enlightening beings. Book 25, 10 Dedications. Then the enlightening being Diamond Banner, empowered by the Buddha, entered absorption in the light of knowledge of enlightening beings. When he had entered this absorption, there appeared before him as many Buddhas as atoms in 100,000 Buddhalands, from beyond as many worlds as atoms in 100,000 Buddhalands in each of the 10 directions. Those Buddhas, who were all alike named Diamond Banner, praised him, saying, "Good, good man, it's very good that you can enter this absorption in the light of knowledge of enlightening beings. Good man, this is the spiritual power of Buddhas as numerous as atoms in 100,000 Buddhalands in each of the 10 directions bolstering you, and also the power of the force of Vairocana Buddha's past vows. And it is also due to the purity of your knowledge and wisdom, and to the growing supremacy of the bases of goodness of enlightening beings, enabling you to enter this absorption and expound the teaching, in order to enable enlightening beings to attain pure fearlessness, to have unimpeded powers of elucidation, to enter the state of unobstructed knowledge, to abide in the great mind of omniscience, to perfect innumerable virtues, to fulfill unhindered pure ways, to enter into the all-sided realm of reality, to manifest the spiritual freedom of all Buddhas, to maintain previous awareness and knowledge, to gain all Buddha's protection of all faculties, to extensively expound myriad principles by means of countless approaches, to understand and keep in memory the teachings heard, to embrace all the foundations of goodness of enlightening beings, to accomplish the aids to the path transcending the world, to prevent omniscient knowledge from dying out, to develop great vows, to interpret true meanings, to know the realm of reality, to cause all enlightening beings to rejoice, to cultivate the equal roots of goodness of all Buddhas, to protect and maintain the lineage of all enlightened ones. That is, you expound the 10 dedications of enlightening beings. Child of Buddha, you should receive the spiritual power of the Buddha and expound this teaching, to gain the protection of the Buddhas, to dwell in the house of the Buddhas, to increase transcendental virtues, to attain the light of concentration, to enter the unobstructed state of the Buddha, to illumine the realm of reality with great light, to assemble faultless pure ways, to abide in the realm of great knowledge, to attain the unimpeded light of truth. Then the Buddhas bestowed on Diamond Banner boundless knowledge and wisdom, unhalting, unimpeded eloquence, skill in distinguishing expressions and meanings, unhindered light of the teaching, the equal body of wisdom of the enlightened, a pure voice with infinite distinct tones, the inconceivable concentration of enlightening beings' skillful observation, the knowledge of dedication of indestructible foundations of all goodness, consummate skill in analytic observation of all things, and uninterrupted power of elucidation to explain all things in all places. Why? Because of the power of the virtue of entry into this absorption. Then the Buddhas each patted the enlightening being Diamond Banner on the head with their right hands, after which Diamond Banner rose from absorption and declared to the enlightening beings, "Children of Buddhas, great enlightening beings have inconceivable great vows, filling the cosmos, able to save all sentient beings. That is, to learn and practice the dedications of all Buddhas of past, present, and future. How many kinds of dedication have the great enlightening beings? Great enlightening beings have 10 kinds of dedication, which are expounded by the Buddhas of past, present, and future. What are they? 1. Dedication to saving all sentient beings without any mental image of sentient beings. 2. Indestructible dedication. 3. Dedication equal to all Buddhas. 4. Dedication reaching all places. 5. Dedication of inexhaustible treasuries of virtue. 6. Dedication causing all roots of goodness to endure. 7. Dedication equally adapting to all sentient beings. 8. Dedication with the character of true thusness. 9. Unattached, unbound, liberated dedication. 10. Boundless dedication equal to the cosmos. These are the 10 kinds of dedication of great enlightening beings, which the past, future, and present Buddhas have, will, and do expound. What is the great enlightening being's dedication to saving all sentient beings? Here the enlightening beings practice transcendent giving, purify transcendent discipline, cultivate transcendent forbearance, arouse transcendent energy, enter transcendent meditation, abide in transcendent wisdom, great compassion, great kindness, great joy, and great equanimity. Cultivating boundless roots of goodness such as these, they form this thought: may these roots of goodness universally benefit all sentient beings, causing them to be purified, to reach the ultimate, and to forever leave the innumerable pains and afflictions of the realms of hells, ghosts, and animals, and so on. When the great enlightening beings plant these roots of goodness, they dedicate their own roots of goodness thus: I should be a hostel for all sentient beings, to let them escape from all painful things. I should be a protector for all sentient beings, to let them all be liberated from afflictions. I should be a refuge for all sentient beings, to free them from all fears. I should be a goal for all sentient beings, to cause them to reach universal knowledge. I should make a resting place for all sentient beings, to enable them to find a place of peace and security. I should be a light for all sentient beings, to enable them to attain the light of knowledge to annihilate the darkness of ignorance. I should be a torch for all sentient beings, to destroy all darkness of nescience. I should be a lamp for all sentient beings, to cause them to abide in the realm of ultimate purity. I should be a guide for all sentient beings, to lead them into the truth. I should be a great leader for all sentient beings, to give them great knowledge. Enlightening beings dedicate all foundations of goodness in this way, to equally benefit all sentient beings and ultimately cause them all to attain universal knowledge. The enlightening beings' protection of and dedication to those who are not their relatives or friends are equal to those for their relatives and friends. Why? Because enlightening beings enter the equal nature of all things. They do not conceive a single thought of not being relatives or friends. Even if there be sentient beings who have malicious or hostile intentions toward the enlightening beings, still the enlightening beings also regard them with the eye of compassion and are never angered. They are good friends to all sentient beings, explaining the right teaching for them so that they may learn and practice it. Just as the ocean cannot be changed or destroyed by all poisons, so too are enlightening beings. The various oppressive afflictions of all the ignorant, the unwise, the ungrateful, the wrathful, those poisoned by covetousness, the arrogant and conceited, the mentally blind and deaf, those who do not know what is good, and other such evil sentient beings cannot disturb the enlightening beings. Just as the sun, appearing in the world, is not concealed because those who are born blind do not see it, and is not hidden by the obstruction of such things as mirages, eclipses, trees, high mountains, deep ravines, dust, mist, smoke, or clouds, and is not concealed by the change of seasons, so also are the enlightening beings. They have great virtues. Their minds are deep and broad. They observe with true mindfulness, without boredom. Because they want ultimate virtue and knowledge, their minds aspire to the supreme truth. The light of truth illumines everywhere, and they perceive the meanings of everything. Their knowledge freely commands all avenues of teaching, and in order to benefit all sentient beings, they always practice virtuous ways, never mistakenly conceiving the idea of abandoning sentient beings. They do not reject sentient beings and fail to cultivate dedication because of the meanness of character of sentient beings, or because their erroneous views, ill will, and confusion are hard to quell. The enlightening beings just array themselves with the armor of great vows of enlightening beings, saving sentient beings without ever retreating. They do not withdraw from enlightening activity and abandon the path of enlightenment just because sentient beings are ungrateful. They do not get sick of sentient beings just because ignoramuses give up all the foundations of goodness which accord with reality, or because they repeatedly commit excesses and evils which are hard to bear. Why? Just as the sun does not appear in the world for just one thing, so too the enlightening beings do not cultivate roots of goodness and dedicate them to complete perfect enlightenment just for the sake of one sentient being. It is in order to save and safeguard all sentient beings everywhere that they cultivate roots of goodness and dedicate them to unexcelled, complete, perfect enlightenment. In the same way, it is not to purify just one Buddha land, not because of belief in just one Buddha, not just to see one Buddha, not just to comprehend one doctrine, that they initiate the determination for great knowledge and dedicate it to unexcelled, complete, perfect enlightenment. It is to purify all Buddha lands, out of faith in all Buddhas, to serve all Buddhas, to understand all Buddha teachings, that they initiate great vows, cultivate the foundations of goodness, and dedicate them to unexcelled, complete, perfect enlightenment. Enlightening beings, focusing on all the Buddha teachings, develop a broad mind and great determination, a determination never to retreat, and through measureless eons cultivate and collect rare, hard-to-obtain mental jewels, all equal to those of all Buddhas. Thus observing the bases of goodness, enlightening beings' mind of faith is pure, their great compassion is firm and enduring. They truly and genuinely dedicate them to sentient beings with a most profound intent. A joyful mind, a pure mind, a mind conquering all, a gentle mind, a kind, compassionate mind, a mind of pity and sympathy with the intention to protect, to benefit, and to give peace and happiness to all sentient beings. They do this sincerely and in reality, not just in words. When great enlightening beings dedicate roots of goodness, they think in these terms: by my roots of goodness may all creatures, all sentient beings, be purified. May they be filled with virtues which cannot be ruined and are inexhaustible. May they always gain respect. May they have right mindfulness and unfailing recollection. May they attain sure discernment. May they be replete with immeasurable knowledge. May all virtues of physical, verbal, and mental action fully adorn them. They also think, by these roots of goodness, I'll cause all sentient beings to serve all Buddhas to their unfailing benefit. I'll cause their pure faith to be indestructible. I'll cause them to hear the true teaching, cut off all doubt and confusion, remember the teaching without forgetting it, and practice in accord with the teaching. I will cause them to develop respect for the enlightened, to act with purity, to rest securely on innumerable great foundations of goodness, to be forever free of poverty, to be fully equipped with the 7 kinds of wealth: faith, self-control, shame, conscience, learning, generosity, and wisdom, to always learn from the Buddhas, to perfect innumerable supreme roots of goodness, to attain impartial understanding, to abide in omniscience, to look upon all sentient beings equally with unobstructed eyes, to adorn their bodies with all marks of greatness, without any flaws, to have pure, beautiful voices replete with all fine qualities, to have control over their senses, to accomplish the 10 powers, to be filled with goodwill, to dwell or depend on nothing, to cause all sentient beings to attain the enjoyments of Buddhahood, attain infinite spiritual stations, and abide in the abode of Buddhas. When enlightening beings see sentient beings doing all sorts of bad things and suffering all sorts of misery and pain, and being hindered by this from seeing the Buddha, hearing the teaching, and recognizing the community, the enlightening beings think, I should, in those states of woe, take on the various miseries in place of the sentient beings to liberate them. When enlightening beings suffer pain in this way, they become even more determined. They do not give up or run away, are not shocked or frightened, are not discouraged or intimidated, and are unwearied. Why? Because according to their vows, they are determined to carry all sentient beings to liberation. At such a time, enlightening beings think in these terms: all sentient beings are in the realm of the pains and troubles of birth, old age, sickness, and death, revolving in repeated routines according to the force of their acts, ignorant, with erroneous views, bereft of qualities of goodness. I should save them and enable them to attain emancipation. Also, sentient beings are wrapped up in the web of attachments, covered by the shroud of ignorance, clinging to all existence, pursuing them unceasingly, entering the cage of suffering, acting like maniacs, totally void of virtue or knowledge, always doubtful and confused. They do not perceive the place of peace. They do not know the path of emancipation. They revolve in birth and death without rest, always submerged in the mire of suffering. Enlightening beings, seeing this, conceive great compassion and desire to help them, wanting to enable sentient beings to all attain liberation. To this end, they dedicate all their virtues, dedicating them with a great, magnanimous heart, in conformity with the dedication practiced by the enlightening beings of all times, in accord with dedication as explained in the scriptures, praying that all sentient beings be thoroughly purified and ultimately accomplish knowledge of all means of liberation. They also think, what I practice is in order to enable sentient beings to all become supreme sovereigns of knowledge. I am not seeking liberation for myself, but only to serve all sentient beings, to cause them to all attain the omniscient mind, to cross over the flow of birth and death, and be freed from all suffering. They also form this thought: I should accept all sufferings for the sake of all sentient beings, and enable them to escape from the abyss of immeasurable woes of birth and death. I should accept all suffering for the sake of all sentient beings in all worlds, in all states of misery, forever and ever, and still always cultivate foundations of goodness for the sake of all beings. Why? I would rather take all this suffering on myself than to allow sentient beings to fall into hell. I should be a hostage in those perilous places, hells, animal realms, the netherworld, etc., as a ransom to rescue all sentient beings in states of woe and enable them to gain liberation. They also form this thought: I vow to protect all sentient beings and never abandon them. What I say is sincerely true without falsehood. Why? Because I have set my mind on enlightenment in order to liberate all sentient beings. I do not seek the unexcelled way for my own sake. Also, I do not cultivate enlightening practice in search of pleasure or enjoyment. Why? Because mundane pleasures are all suffering, the realm of maniacs, craved by ignorant people but scorned by Buddhas. All misery arises from them. The anger, fighting, mutual defamation, and other such evils of the realms of hells, ghosts, animals, and the netherworld are all caused by greedy attachment to objects of desire. By addiction to desire, one becomes estranged from the Buddhas and hindered from birth in heaven, to say nothing of unexcelled complete perfect enlightenment. Observing thus how worldlings, because of greed for a little taste of what they desire, experience immeasurable suffering, enlightening beings, after all, do not seek unexcelled enlightenment and cultivate enlightening practice for the sake of those pleasures of the senses. It is only to bring peace and comfort to all sentient beings that they set their minds on enlightenment and practice to fulfill their great vows to cut sentient beings' halter of miseries and enable them to attain liberation. Great enlightening beings also form this thought: I should dedicate roots of goodness in this way to enable all sentient beings to attain ultimate bliss, beneficial bliss, the bliss of non-reception, the bliss of dispassionate tranquility, the bliss of non-dependence, the bliss of imperturbability, immeasurable bliss, the bliss of not rejecting birth and death, yet not regressing from nirvana, undying bliss, and the bliss of universal knowledge. They also think, I should be for all sentient beings as a charioteer, as a leader, holding the torch of great knowledge and showing the way to safety and peace, freeing them from danger, using appropriate means to inform them of the truth. And also in the ocean of birth and death, be as a skillful ship's captain who knows all, to deliver sentient beings to the other shore. In this way do great enlightening beings dedicate all their basic virtues. That is, they save all sentient beings by employing means appropriate to the situation to cause them to emerge from birth and death, serve and provide for all the Buddhas, attain unhindered omniscient knowledge, abandon all maniacs and bad associates, approach all enlightening beings and good associates, annihilate all error and wrongdoing, perfect pure behavior, and fulfill the great practical vows and innumerable virtues of enlightening beings. When great enlightening beings have properly dedicated their roots of goodness, they form this thought: many suns do not appear because of the multitude of sentient beings in the 4 continents. Only one sun appears, yet it can shine on all sentient beings. Also, sentient beings do not know the day and night, or travel, or see, or carry out their work by the light of their own bodies. The accomplishment of these things all depends on the emergence of the sun, yet the sun is only one, not 2. In the same way, great enlightening beings, cultivating and amassing roots of goodness, thinking as they dedicate them, sentient beings cannot save themselves. How can they save others? Only I alone have this unique determination. They cultivate and amass roots of goodness and dedicate them in this way. That is, to liberate all sentient beings, to illumine all sentient beings, to guide all sentient beings, to enlighten all sentient beings, to watch over and attend to all sentient beings, to take care of all sentient beings, to perfect all sentient beings, to gladden all sentient beings, to bring happiness to all sentient beings, and to cause all sentient beings to become freed from doubt. Great enlightening beings also think, I should be like the sun, shining universally on all without seeking thanks or reward, able to take care of all sentient beings even if they are bad, never giving up my vows on this account, not abandoning all sentient beings because one sentient being is evil, just diligently practicing the dedication of roots of goodness to cause all sentient beings to attain peace and ease. Even if my roots of goodness be few, I embrace all sentient beings and make a great dedication with a joyful heart. If one has roots of goodness but does not desire to benefit all sentient beings, that's not called dedication. When every single root of goodness is directed toward all sentient beings, that is called dedication. They cultivate dedication to place sentient beings in the true nature of things where there is no attachment. Dedication seeing that the intrinsic nature of sentient beings doesn't move or change. Dedication without depending on or grasping dedication. Dedication without attachment to the appearances of roots of goodness. Dedication without false ideas about the essential nature of consequences of actions. Dedication without attachment to the characteristics of the 5 clusters of material and mental existence. Dedication without destroying the characteristics of the 5 clusters. Dedication without grasping action. Dedication without seeking reward. Dedication without attachment to causality. Dedication without imagining what is produced by causality. Dedication without attachment to reputation, without attachment to location. Dedication without attachment to unreal things. Dedication without attachment to images of sentient beings, the world, or mind. Dedication without creating delusions of mind, delusions of concepts, or delusions of views. Dedication without attachment to verbal expression. Dedication observing the real true nature of all things. Dedication observing the aspects in which all sentient beings are equal. Dedication stamping all roots of goodness with the seal of the realm of truth. Dedication observing all things dispassionately. They understand that all things have no propagation, and that roots of goodness are also thus. They observe that things are non-dual, unborn, and unperishing, and that so is dedication. Dedicating such roots of goodness, they cultivate and practice pure methods of curing spiritual ills. All of their roots of goodness are in accord with transcendental principles, but they do not conceive of them dualistically. It is not in their deeds that they cultivate omniscience, Yet it is not apart from deeds that they are dedicated to omniscience. Omniscience is not identical to action, but omniscience is not attained apart from action either. Because their action is pure as light, the consequences are also pure as light. Because the consequences are pure as light, omniscience is also pure as light. Detached from all confusions and thoughts of self and possession, they know perfectly in this way and skillfully dedicate all roots of goodness. When enlightening beings practice dedication in this way, liberating sentient beings ceaselessly, they do not dwell on appearances. But though they know that in all things there is no action and no consequence, yet they can skillfully produce all deeds and consequences, without opposition or contention. In this way they expediently practice dedication. When enlightening beings practice dedication in this way, they are free from all faults and are praised by all Buddhas. This is called the great enlightening being's first dedication, saving all sentient beings without any image or concept of sentient beings. Then the enlightening being Diamond Banner looked over all the assemblies in the 10 directions throughout the cosmos. Entering into the meanings and expressions of the profundities, cultivating supreme action with a boundless mind, covering all beings with great compassion, maintaining the lineage of the enlightened ones of past, present, and future, entering the treasury of virtuous qualities of all Buddhas, producing the verity body of all Buddhas, able to discern the mentalities of all sentient beings, knowing the roots of goodness he had planted were ripe, while abiding in the reality body he manifested pure physical embodiment for them and, empowered by the Buddha, said in verse, cultivating the way over inconceivable eons, vigor firm, mind unobstructed, always seeking the virtuous qualities of Buddhas to benefit living beings. The peerless tamers of the world thoroughly purify their minds. Determining to save all conscious creatures, they can enter well into the treasury of dedication. Their courageous power of energy complete, their knowledge clear, their minds pure, they rescue all beings everywhere, their minds enduring, unperturbed. Their hearts can rest peacefully without compare. Their minds are ever pure and full of joy. Earnestly striving thus for the sake of the living, they are like earth, accepting all. They do not seek pleasure for themselves. They only want to rescue sentient beings. Thus developing a heart of great compassion, they quickly gain entry into the unhindered state. They are able to accept all beings in all worlds in the 10 directions. They stabilize their minds to save those beings, this way cultivating the dedications. They practice generosity most gladly and preserve pure conduct without transgression. Their intrepid, vigorous mind unstirred, they dedicate this to enlightened omniscience. Their mind is boundlessly broad. Their forbearance is stable, unshakable. Their meditation is most profound, always illumining. Their wisdom's inconceivably subtle. In all worlds in the 10 directions, they fully cultivate pure practices. All these virtues they dedicate to the peace and happiness of all conscious beings. The great heroes diligently practice good works, measureless, boundless, uncountable. All these they use to benefit sentient beings and cause them to abide in inconceivable supreme knowledge. To act for the benefit of all sentient beings, they spend inconceivably many eons in hells. This they do without wearying or shrinking back, always practicing dedication with courage and decision. They do not seek form, sound, smell, or taste, and they do not seek nice feelings. It is just to liberate all living beings that they always seek supreme knowledge. Their knowledge and wisdom are pure as space. They practice boundless enlightening acts. The practical methods the Buddhas carry out, those people always practice and learn. The great heroes, traveling through all worlds, are able to give peace and safety to all beings, causing all to rejoice, tirelessly cultivating enlightening practice. Destroying all mental poisons, contemplating and cultivating highest knowledge, they do not seek comfort for themselves. They only wish that sentient beings be freed from pain. These people's dedication is ultimate. Their hearts are always pure and free from poison. Entrusted by the Buddhas of all times, they dwell in the citadel of the loftiest teaching. They're never attached to forms, or to sensations, perceptions, habits, or consciousness. Their minds have forever transcended existence, while all their virtues they dedicate to others. All the sentient beings seen by the Buddhas they take into their care, without exception, vowing to enable them all to be liberated. For them do they strive with great joy. Their minds are constantly stable, their knowledge and wisdoms incomparably vast. Truly mindful, free from ignorance, they're always calm, and all their deeds are totally pure. Those enlightening beings, while in the world, are not attached to any internal or external phenomena. Like the wind traveling unhindered through the sky is the function of the great being's mind. Their physical actions are all pure. All their speech is without error. Their minds always take refuge in the Buddha, and they can please all the Buddhas. In the infinite worlds of the 10 directions, wherever there are Buddhas, they go. There, seeing the lords of great compassion, they all gaze with reverent respect. Their minds are always pure and faultless, entering all worlds without fear. Already in the enlightened one's unexcelled path, they act as great reservoirs of truth for all beings. Diligently observing and examining all phenomena, they contemplate existence and non-existence accordingly. Thus they pursue the truth, and gain entry to the most profound realm of non-contention. With this they cultivate the steadfast way, which no sentient beings can break down. Well able to comprehend the nature of all things, they have no attachments in any world. Thus they are dedicated to reaching the other shore, enabling all beings to be free from defilements. Forever rid of all dependency, they enter the realm of ultimate independence. In the languages of all sentient beings, in accord with the differences in their types, enlightening beings can distinctly explain while their minds are unattached and unhindered. Thus do enlightening beings practice dedication. Unspeakably many are their virtues and their methods. They earn the praise of all the Buddhas in all worlds of the 10 directions. What is the indestructible dedication of great enlightening beings? These great enlightening beings attain indestructible faith in the enlightened ones of past, future, and present because they serve all Buddhas. They attain indestructible faith in enlightening beings, even those who have just resolved on the search for omniscience for the first time, because they vow to tirelessly cultivate all foundations of goodness of enlightening beings. They attain indestructible faith in all the Buddha qualities, because they conceive profound aspiration. They attain indestructible faith in all Buddha teachings, because they abide by them and maintain them. They attain indestructible faith in all sentient beings, because they look upon them impartially with the eye of compassion and dedicate roots of goodness to their universal benefit. They attain indestructible faith in all pure ways, because everywhere they amass boundless roots of goodness. They attain indestructible faith in the path of dedication of enlightening beings, because they fulfill their noble aspirations. They attain indestructible faith in all teachers of the ways of enlightening beings, because they think of the enlightening beings as Buddhas. They attain indestructible faith in the spiritual powers of all Buddhas, because they deeply believe in the inconceivability of the Buddhas. They attain indestructible faith in the practice of skill and expedient means exercised by all enlightening beings, because they include countless various realms of activity. When great enlightening beings abide in indestructible faith, they plant roots of goodness, innumerable and boundless, in various realms, such as those of Buddhas, enlightening beings, disciples of Buddhas, individual illuminates, of Buddhist doctrines, and of sentient beings, causing the determination for enlightenment to grow more and more. Their kindness and compassion broad and great they observe impartially. They accord with and practice the deeds of the Buddhas, embracing all pure foundations of goodness. Entering the truth, they assemble virtuous practices, carry out great works of charity, and cultivate meritorious qualities, looking upon the past, present, and future as equal. Great enlightening beings dedicate such virtues to omniscience, aspiring to always see the Buddhas. They associate with good companions and live among enlightening beings. Constantly keeping their minds on omniscience, they accept and hold the Buddhist teachings, conscientiously protecting them, and educate and develop all sentient beings, their minds always dedicated to the path of emancipation from the world. They provide for and serve all teachers of truth. Understanding the principles of the teachings, they retain them in memory. They cultivate and practice great vows, causing them all to be fulfilled. Thus do enlightening beings amass roots of goodness, accomplish roots of goodness, develop roots of goodness, contemplate roots of goodness, concentrate on roots of goodness, analyze roots of goodness, delight in roots of goodness, cultivate roots of goodness, and abide in roots of goodness. Once enlightening beings have amassed various roots of goodness in this way, they cultivate the practices of enlightening beings by means of the results of these roots of goodness. In every successive moment they see innumerable Buddhas, and serve and provide for them in accordance with their needs. They provide innumerable jewels, flowers, garlands, garments, parasols, banners, pennants, adornments, servants, beautified places, perfumes, powdered incenses, mixed scents, burning incenses, profound faith, aspiration, pure minds, respect, praise, honor, jeweled seats, flower seats, incense seats, seats of garlands, sandalwood seats, cloth seats, diamond seats, crystal seats, precious streamer seats, jewel-colored seats, bejeweled parks, flowered parks, perfumed parks, parks hung with garlands, parks spread with robes, jewel-studded parks, parks decorated with streamers of all jewels, parks with trees of all precious substances, parks with balustrades of all precious substances, parks covered with nets of chimes of all jewels, palaces with all precious substances, palaces with all kinds of flowers, palaces with all kinds of incenses, palaces with all kinds of garlands, palaces of all kinds of sandalwood, palaces with stores of all kinds of aromatic resins, palaces of all kinds of diamonds, palaces of all kinds of crystals, all extraordinarily fine, surpassing those of the heavens, innumerable trees of mixed jewels, trees of various fragrances, trees of precious raiment, trees of music, trees of fascinating jewels, trees of gem-studded streamers, trees of precious rings, trees adorned with banners, pennants, and canopies with the fragrances of all flowers. Such trees with luxuriant foliage interreflecting adorn the palaces. The palaces also are adorned with countless lattices, windows, doors, balconies, crescents, and drapes, countless nets of gold covering them, countless perfumes wafting throughout them scenting everything, and countless robes spread on the ground. Enlightening beings reverently present these offerings with pure-minded respect to all Buddhas for countless, incalculable eons, never retreating, never ceasing. And after each Buddha dies, they also respectfully make similar offerings to all their relics, in order to induce all sentient beings to develop pure faith, to embody all foundations of goodness, to be freed from all suffering, to have broad understanding, to be arrayed with great adornments, to be arrayed with infinite adornments, to consummate all their undertakings, to know how rare it is to meet a Buddha in the world, to fulfill the immeasurable power of the enlightened, to adorn and make offerings to the tombs and shrines of Buddhas, and to maintain the teachings of all Buddhas. Their offerings to living Buddhas and to their relics after death could never be fully told of even in an incalculable period of time. Such cultivation and accumulation of immeasurable virtue is all to develop and mature sentient beings, without retreating, without ceasing, without wearying, without clinging, free from all mental images, without stopping anywhere, forever beyond all dependence, detached from self and anything pertaining to a self. They seal all aspects of their activities with the stamp of truth, realize the birthlessness of things, abide in the abode of Buddhahood, and observe the nature of birthlessness definitively marking all objects. In the care of the Buddhas, they set their minds on dedication in accord with the essential nature of things, dedication entering into the uncreated truth, yet perfecting created expedient methods, dedication of techniques discarding attachments to concepts of phenomena, dedication abiding in countless enlightening skills, dedication forever departing from all realms of existence, dedication of expedient application of practices without sticking to forms, dedication embracing all foundations of goodness, great dedication purifying the acts of all enlightening beings, dedication rousing the will for enlightenment, dedication living with all bases of goodness, dedication fulfilling supreme faith. When enlightening beings dedicate such roots of goodness, though they go along with birth and death, they are not changed. They seek omniscience without ever retreating. While being in the various realms of existence, their minds are undisturbed. They are able to liberate all sentient beings. They are not stained by compounded things. They do not lose unimpeded knowledge. Their fulfillment of causes and conditions of enlightening beings' practices and stages is inexhaustible. Worldly things cannot change or move them. They fulfill the pure ways of transcendence. They are able to accomplish all knowledge and power. Thus do enlightening beings get rid of the darkness of ignorance and folly, develop the will for enlightenment and reveal its light, increase pure ways, dedicated to the supreme way, fulfilling all its practices. With clear, pure intellect, they are able to skillfully analyze and comprehend all things as appearing according to the mind. They know deeds are like illusions, results of deeds are like paintings, all activities are like magic tricks, things born of causes and conditions are all like echoes, and the practices of enlightening beings are all like reflections. They produce the clear, pure eye of reality, seeing the vast realm of the uncreated. Realizing their null essence, they understand the non-duality of things and discover the true aspect of things. They fulfill the practices of enlightening beings without attachment to any forms. They are able to carry out all commonplace acts without ever abandoning pure principles and practices. Free from all attachments, they remain unattached in action. Thus do enlightening beings think flexibly, without confusion or delusion, without contradicting facts, without destroying active causes, dedicating as is appropriate with clear perception of real truth. They know the inherent nature of things, yet by the power of skill and means they accomplish results of action and reach the other shore. With knowledge and wisdom they examine all things and attain knowledge of spiritual faculties. The virtues of their deeds are carried out without striving, in accordance with their free will. Enlightening beings dedicate roots of goodness in this way because they want to liberate all sentient beings, keep the lineage of Buddhas unbroken, be forever rid of demonic activity, and see omniscience. Their boundless aspiration is never discarded. They detach from mundane objects and cut off all mix-up and defilement. They also wish for sentient beings to attain pure knowledge, enter deeply into the techniques of liberation, depart from the state of birth and death, attain the bases of virtues of Buddhahood, forever end all delusive activities, stamp all actions with the seal of equanimity, determined to enter knowledge of all ways of liberation and accomplish all transmundane qualities. This, O child of Buddha, is called enlightening beings' second dedication, indestructible dedication. When enlightening beings abide in this dedication, they get to see all the countless Buddhas and master innumerable pure, sublime teachings. They attain impartiality toward all sentient beings, and have no doubt about anything. Strengthened by the spiritual power of all Buddhas, they overcome all demons and forever get rid of their influence. They achieve noble birth and fulfill the will for enlightenment. Attaining unhindered knowledge, they can expound the meanings of all doctrines without relying on another for understanding. They are able, following the power of imagination, to enter all lands. Illumining sentient beings everywhere, they cause them all to become purified. Great enlightening beings, by the power of this indestructible dedication, embody all foundations of goodness and dedicate them in this way. Then Diamond Banner, spiritually empowered by Buddha, looked over the 10 directions and said in verse, Enlightening beings, having attained indestructible will, carry out all good works. Therefore they're able to make the Buddhas rejoice. Those who are wise dedicate this. Making offerings to infinite Buddhas, giving charity, with self-control they subdue their senses, out of desire to benefit all sentient beings, to cause them all to be purified. All sorts of beautiful, fragrant flowers, innumerable different splendid robes, jeweled canopies and adornments they present to all the Buddhas. Thus do they make offerings to Buddhas for countless, unthinkable eons. Reverent, respectful, always rejoicing, they never have a thought of weariness. They concentrate their thought on the Buddhas, the great bright lamps of all worlds. All the enlightened ones of the 10 directions appear before them as though face to face. For inconceivably infinite eons they give in all ways, their minds never weary. For hundreds of millions of eons they practice good principles in the same way. After the Buddhas become extinct, they make offerings to their relics tirelessly. With various fine adornments for each, they set up inconceivably many shrines. Built in incomparably excellent forms, adorned with jewels and gold, The shrines are magnificent, big as mountains, their number countless billions. Having made offerings with pure minds, with respect, they also conceive the will to gladden and benefit others. For inconceivable eons they stay in the world, rescuing sentient beings and liberating them. They know that sentient beings are illusory and do not discriminate among them, yet can differentiate the faculties of beings and act for the benefit of all the living. Enlightening beings cultivate and build up virtues, vast, extensive, incomparably supreme. Understanding they're essentially not existent, in this way they dedicate them all with certainty. Observing all things with supreme knowledge, there's not a single thing that's born. Thus do they provisionally cultivate dedication, virtue infinite and exhaustible. By this means they purify the mind, equal to all the Buddhas. This power of skill and means is inexhaustible, therefore felicitous results have no limit. Initiating the will for unsurpassed enlightenment, without depending on anything in the world, they go to all worlds in the 10 directions and are not hindered by anything at all. All Buddhas appear in the world because they want to guide beings' minds. They examine the true natures of their minds and discover they ultimately cannot be found. All phenomena, without exception, are included in thusness, with no essential nature. Dedicating with this pure eye, they open the prison of birth and death in the world. Though they purify all existences, yet they do not have a notion of existences. They know the nature of existence has no existence, and purify the joyful mind. They depend on nothing in one Buddha land, or in any Buddha lands, and they are not attached to conditioned things, knowing their phenomenality has no basis. Hereby they cultivate omniscience. Hereby highest knowledge adorns them. Hereby the Buddhas all rejoice. This is enlightening beings' work of dedication. Enlightening beings focus their minds on the Buddhas, their supreme knowledge, wisdom, and means. Like Buddhas, they depend on nothing at all. May we accomplish these virtues. Concentrating on saving all, they cause them to abandon evil deeds. Thus benefiting sentient beings, they contemplate attentively without abandoning them. Abiding in the state of knowledge and guarding the teaching, they do not take nirvana by other vehicles. They only vow to attain the Buddha's unexcelled way. This is the dedication of enlightening beings. They do not grasp the fabricated unrealities spoken of by sentient beings, but though they do not rely on speech, still they don't cling to wordlessness. All the enlightened ones in the 10 directions comprehend all things without exception. But though they know all things are empty, void, they don't produce a notion of voidness. With one adornment they adorn all, yet don't discriminate phenomena. They enlighten all living beings. All is without inherent nature, without objectivity.